Story leading our bulletin at this hour. A 28-year-old man will appear in the Protea Magistrates Court in Soweto for his alleged involvement in the death of a 41-year-old woman. The woman was found buried in a shallow grave in a shack in Vlakfontein. The suspect is believed to have confessed to the murder. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Slindelo Masigane outside court this morning. Slindelo, a very good morning. Well, this will be day one, the first time the suspect will be appearing in court. What should we expect to take place today?
Good morning, Protea. Definitely not much. It is a first appearance, so we are expecting quite a short appearance where, of course, the docket will be presented to the magistrate. We understand that at this stage, we are still waiting for that particular docket to arrive, where it will be allocated on the court roll and then allocated to a magistrate. What we really expect is to find out exactly who the deceased is. We understand that the police at this stage are still trying to locate the family of the deceased, which we understand may be in the Free State. But what we do know is that the 28-year-old suspect, like you said in your intro, has allegedly confessed to the crime. In fact, he was the one who pointed out to the police where he had buried the body, and shockingly had pointed them into his shack underneath his bed. It is alleged that this body has been in there for at least 2 months now. The neighbor I spoke to and a close friend of the deceased said that she had noticed that for some time now she had not seen her friend around, and in fact the suspect and the deceased were often seen around together. So she found it strange that he was seemingly alone this time, and the story that she was given by the suspect was that she had gotten employment and that she was living, in fact, with her employer. But this did not sit well with the neighbor, and she just kept on asking the question, where is she, where is she, where is she, until allegedly on Sunday he basically confessed to her that he had strangled her, allegedly, and the police were then called along with the forensics search and rescue team, where a body of a woman was subsequently exhumed.
Now, Slindelo, is there any idea or any detail at this stage about their relationship between the suspect and the lady who's been murdered?
Not at all, Bradan. I mean, the neighbors are saying that, you know, they were always together. It seemed that they were quite regular customers at a local tavern. And so when the MEC for Community Safety, who is in fact here in court as well, to attend this first appearance, she was told that, you know, they were always hanging out at the tavern and always drinking. But since around June, it just seemed as though the woman just disappeared into thin air. When I spoke to the neighbor, asking her had she not maybe seen any issues between them, she said that they really kept to themselves as neighbors. They weren't really trying to be in each other's businesses, which was something the MEC actually raised yesterday during her visit to the crime scene, saying that it is really up to communities like Vlakfontein to look after each other. Neighbors need to ask questions when you don't see a particular person in the area anymore. And she said that this particular case is an example, really, of the crisis of femicide that we're seeing in the country, where we have women dying at the hands of their partners. And as we begin to celebrate Women's Month, it is quite sad that we're now dealing with such a case.
There was nothing to celebrate there, indeed, being Women's Month in August. Any kind of activism should we expect, because it is Women's Month, in and outside court? Slindelo, are there any women who've gathered there to show their support for the families, or the family of the victim?
Not at this stage, but then I have been here since around 6 a.m. this morning. It is still quiet outside court. We may see some community members possibly coming through to attend the court case. The community is quite angered by this. As you would know, this is not the first time a body is being found buried inside a home. Just last year in October, just 10 months ago, our colleague Lindogu Hlokulu broke the story of 7 bodies that were found buried inside inside a house in Extension 3 in Vlakfontein. And if you would remember that particular case, 2 suspects were arrested. One subsequently died during police custody, and the other suspect was then released after the NPA and the prosecution said that there were no prospects of success, of a successful prosecution rather, in that particular case. So even with that particular case, there has not been a resolution or anybody held accountable for those murders. So it is now up to police to really ensure that their investigations are tight. We understand that there is a confession obtained from the suspect, and so we do expect to hear exactly what kinds of details they have around the suspect himself, because allegedly during that confession, Bradan, he then also subsequently confessed to at least 5 other murders.
Well, we'll have to find out what's going to come out in court from today when those docket does eventually arrive at the Protea Magistrates Court in Soweto.